since we are here at U of T, we just want to let everybody know that one of the major topics that we considered when coming up with questions and discussion topics is mental health, which I'm sure everyone in here knows that has been a very prevalent and a very growing topic, especially in the last few years. And especially if you're a U of T student, I'm sure you know that the topic of mental health, and to put it blunt, even suicide and such, has been a very large topic, especially in the last few months. So we have a lot of questions that are geared around that as well. So once again, thank you so much for coming. We are very excited and honored and grateful to be here, but to be here with all of you. So, do you guys want to get started? Perfect. Thank you so much.
Kalo na janati tava jananam, kalo na janati tava samapanam, drushto maya tava mahakaraha Yogeshvara Kala Kala, Yogeshvara Kala Kala. Good evening everybody. I just decided to chant because he said one of the main issues is mental health. We need to understand this. As today, slowly people are beginning to understand, for physical health, doctor is not the solution. How you eat, how you stand, how you sit, how you breathe is the solution. Hello? Yes. What you do with yourself on a daily basis. Similarly, for mental health also, what we're doing with ourselves on a daily basis is the solution. And what we're doing with ourselves on a daily basis is the source of the problem too. So, to start any activity in your daily life, if you had some sort of process to settle you and kind of put you in place for that kind of activity that you're trying to perform, you would see, you would perform your activity much more easily with least amount of friction. In the initial stages of mental ill health, it is just a question of little bit of friction. When the friction happens continuously, something breaks down. Once it's broken down, then fixing is a humongous task. But ensuring there was not much friction is a much easier thing to do. All of you young people, mental health is the last thing that you should be concerned about at this stage in your life, but unfortunately it's come visiting. No, it's not come visiting, it's been invited. So keeping that in mind, let's…
Thank you very much. So the first question that I had from myself is…
Why are you copying questions?
Sorry?
Why are you copying questions?
I want to make sure I don't mess this up, so…
Because I've usually seen people copying answers, but questions…
But yeah, so the first question we had was, nobody goes through life unscathed. Everybody has had a past experience with a person or a situation that left a permanent scar on them, such that whenever we are reminded of this, the sadness or loneliness or pain associated with the memory comes back regardless of how much time has passed. Is there truly a way for us to move on from and let go of the things that have hurt us in the past such that they have no substantial emotional effect on us? And if not, how can we heal ourselves from this past pain?
When you say everybody, that's a very sweeping statement. It's not true with everybody. Unfortunately, a lot of people are getting into that space. Fortunately, not everybody. I am not in the group. This doesn't mean that everything in my life happens just the way I want it. No. Very few things happen the way I want it. I want you to understand this. If you keep the scope of your life very limited, let's say just your education or your profession or your family, then maybe 90% of things happen your way, 10% of the things don't happen your way. But if you expand your activity globally, then you will see only 10% happens your way, 90% doesn't happen your way. So if you're the freaking kind, then you will break yourself down. So one thing we need to understand is that if mentally, emotionally, we are freaking out on something or the other, I want you to understand there is no complexities to this. To make it very simple, you are freaking whenever things don't happen the way you think they should happen. Hello? Do you understand this? Your only problem with life is, it's not happening the way you think it should happen. Hello? That's all. If it is not happening the way you think it should happen, maybe it is happening somebody else's way and somebody else is happy. Yes or no? And most of the people in the same breath, they say they believe in God, so maybe it's happening his way. So essentially, it's not happening the way you think it should happen. But look at the way you're thinking. 2 years ago, how you're thinking, and today how you're thinking. Is it the same? No. So you are glad those things didn't happen. But it takes 2 years to realize that I'm glad those things didn't happen. A whole lot of things don't happen. So what? The important thing is, how profound and how exuberant is your experience of life. Life is not that it must happen your way. If it happens your way, what does it mean? What is your way? Right now what you know, from that you concoct something which you call, this is my way, isn't it? Do you know everything in the universe? No. Whatever we may know, it is still very little, isn't it so? Hello? Whatever we may know, it is still very, very little. From this, we are expecting something should happen. You must be glad. Something you do not know happened. Something that you did not expect happened. This means life is happening to you. My blessing usually for people is, let something happen in your life that you could not dream of. That means your dream should not come true, that's all I'm saying. Something that you could not dream of, that must happen, that means you're living a fabulous life. But if something new happens that you did not think of, you will freak. Don't do that. Don't do that. New things are happening, something that you did not expect is happening. You should ride on that. See, there's only two ways. Life has its waves. If you have learned to ride the wave, in Canada you cannot ride, it's too cold. Suppose you were in California and you were riding the waves, you're a wave rider, your dream is a tsunami one day. Hello? Yes or no? If you're really good at riding the wave, what are you looking for? The biggest wave possible. But if you never learned how to ride, then you get crushed by the waves. Something wrong with the waves? No. You did not make yourself fit for life, that is what is wrong. Nothing wrong with life, it's happening. Are you fit for this world or not? This is happening all the time. You know, we are a volunteer organization. This is my lamentation, okay? Please listen to me a little bit. Millions of volunteers, lots of things happening around the world, big movements. but none of them are qualified for the job. Just whoever comes fills the space. I keep them up with enthusiasm and inspiration endlessly, but they don't know what to do. They're enthusiastic. You know, enthusiasm without direction, how much trouble it is to manage. And you cannot fire them because they're volunteers. You didn't hire them to fire them, first of all. So, this will be happening all the time. Somebody comes up to me and, Sadhguru, I can't work with this person, he's so terrible, she's horrible, she's that. I say, see, the world is full of such horrible people only. If you think, if you want to find something horrible, you can find something horrible in everybody. Just in everybody, without exception, yes or no? If you think what you're doing is significant, you learn to work with such horrible people. If you think what you're doing is very significant. But if you want to work with ideal people, you must go to heaven and today. So, at this stage in your life, young people, don't produce a list of complaints about what's wrong. Produce a list of solutions for me, let me see, to your life and everybody's life around you. That'll be a forward movement. If you invest on your problems, you will see everything in the universe is a problem, believe me. Tell me one person here who is not a problem in some way. If you encounter them the wrong way, each one of them is a problem, isn't it? Hello? So it is your skill in life that you approach them, the solution end of them, not the problem end of them. Yes. If you go on hitting people on their problem end, you will have endless problems in your life, because everybody is capable of trouble, everybody. Yes or no? Yes. Hello? Have you found one person who is not trouble if you touch them the wrong way? You found somebody like that? If you touch the trouble spot in them, everybody is a problem, isn't it? So you have to learn how to touch the solution part of them, not the trouble part of them. This goes with situations, this goes with people, this goes with every aspect of life.
Thank you very much.
So Sadhguru, a lot of our students take leadership roles at school. A lot of them are just good friends and are part of families where problems do exist, and they take the caretaker role a lot. So what they've asked is, how do you take care of yourself when you are usually the one taking care of others?
If you're interested in the well-being of people around you, the first and foremost thing is you must keep yourself well, otherwise you will become a problem yourself. If you want to be a solution for a lot of things, first thing is you're not the problem. Physically, mentally, in any sense, you are not the problem, only then you can attend to things around you. Otherwise, with good intentions, you'll mess up the world. Believe me, good intentions have caused more horrible things on the planet than bad intentions. People have very good intentions, but they're a mess. The more they do, the more mess they will cause. Most of the mess on the planet has happened with good intentions. Right now we are in an ecological mess. It's happened with good intention or bad intention? With good intention, isn't it? They thought they're doing a great thing, but in the end result is something else. So like this, at everything it is so, just your good intentions will not do. It's very important, before you touch somebody else, your hands are clean. That much you must take care. That if you cannot solve somebody's problem, what to do, it's all right. But you touching them should not become a problem.
Thank you.
So Sadhguru, going back to what you were saying, that you need to be part of the solution, and going back to what Daniel was saying, that mental health is such a problem here, At U of T, we are constantly challenged by new ideas by some of the greatest minds in the world. And in such a competitive environment, which I sometimes describe as a roller coaster ride we got onto knowingly or unknowingly, I find myself, and a lot of people in the audience would echo to this, that I'm juggling between dealing with stress and finding internal happiness. I want to understand, how do you live in the moment? How do I cherish my victories or my failures before I move on to the next task in life?
That's many questions in one. That's a very typical Indian question. She left India only a year ago. So, to address the basic aspect of your question, which is how do you live in the moment? I'm asking you, please live somewhere else and show me for 1 month. Can you? Can you live somewhere else? Then why such a question?
But you're mentally somewhere else, even if you're…
No, mentally you're not somewhere else. You're here and thinking about something. So, you need to understand this. It took millions of years of evolution to get you to this level of cerebral activity. Now you're suffering your cerebral activity. Somebody is teaching you, don't think about yesterday, don't think about tomorrow, just be here in the moment. What they're telling you is, rewind the evolutionary process, become like an earthworm. Yes, of course, an earthworm is eco-friendly creature, which human beings are not, unfortunately. But it took millions of years of evolutionary work. I want you to just imagine, from a single-celled amoeba to you, the most complex creature on this planet, take an enormous amount of work, isn't it? You think it was all wrong? Hello? You think it was all wrong? So the problem is just this, you have a very sophisticated machine in the form of human mechanism. The simple question is, have you read the user's manual? User's manual? No. How is that? When will you read it? When you're 80 years of age? I know it's a long way for you, but when will you read it? You must make up your mind. See, suppose you buy a phone, do you want to read the user's manual within the first 3 days after you bought it, or after 3 years when you're discarding the phone? When do you want to read it? In the very beginning, at the earliest possible time, isn't it? So right now, the problem is just this. This is a very sophisticated machine. You have made no effort to know this. Without knowing this, you want to live in this and drive through the world in this, so it's a disaster, all right? You want to know everything about the universe, you don't want to know anything about this, so you're paying the price. You know where galaxy number 64 is, but you don't know where the hell you are, you're asking, how can I be in the moment? Simply, information is very deceptive. Information is very deceptive. You have information about that galaxy, this galaxy, you think you know it. No, we don't know it, we just read it in the book, all right? But this is reality, existentially you're true, isn't it? Humans know everything about this because this is you. You don't know that galaxy, that's another matter. If you wish, you can know. But you must know this because everything that you experience through this, isn't it? Do you see me right now? Where? Right here? Now, this light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted image in the retina. You know the whole story. Where do you see me right now? Within yourself. Where do you hear me right now? Within yourself. Suppose suddenly I become blurry and hazy, you think something wrong with me or with your vision? So, right now, this is all the problem with the world. Your vision is blurry and you think there's something wrong with everything in the universe. No, no, it's your question of your perception, your ability to think, your ability to emote, your ability to hold your balance. This is yours. This is not the world's business. Hello? This is not the world's business. Somebody freaks there, you freak within yourself. Whose business is it? It's your business. If you do not take charge of this one, everything in the universe is a problem, just know this. Not one thing, everything. And especially when you're a student in a university, well, I was not much of a student, maybe you're better students than me, but when I was a student, should I share uninspiring stories? This is not good for students. So, when I went to the university, when I finished my school, I decided not to go to the university. And being an educated family, this is not like today that you can take a year sabbatical, such things did not exist. You finish school, you must go to the university. This is a time in India, 70s, if you miss out 1 year, that means maybe you'll be on the street. That's the only two options. Either you're well educated, you're on the street, there is no in-between other options. That's the mindset at least. So, I said, I don't want to go to the university, I will educate myself. Because anyway, I didn't like what they were saying in the school. So a higher level of that in the university I won't like. So I said, I'll educate myself. And you won't believe, I thought people who supposed to be my friends, my parents, my loved ones, everybody started looking at me, I have done something, some crime. It's like I've done something against them. I only said, I'll educate myself. Suddenly everything became different. Suddenly everybody is looking at me like I'm some strange creature who is not doing whatever he's supposed to do. So this 1 year I spent in the Mysore University library. Every day, library opens at 9 a.m., I was the first customer. It closes at 8 p.m., I was the last one to leave. I was a… why am I telling you all this? In the moment. So, I know these days this generation can't eat a full stomach, but I would normally eat 2 times of what anybody eats, but I never put on weight, there was so much activity. Every day I'm cycling 40–50 kilometers, I'm swimming, I'm climbing trees, I'm doing things. Whatever I eat, I'm always hungry. So I'm a big eater. This 1 year, you won't understand this unless you know how voracious I was. 1 whole year, I didn't eat lunch, which was a huge achievement for me. I would stuff myself with as much breakfast as possible and entire day in the library, 8 o'clock I come home and then eat. This may look funny today because today I have only 1 meal a day. At that time, it was such a big thing because however big the breakfast is, by 10:30, 11 I'm hungry. I remain hungry till 8 p.m., which was a huge thing for me. Today it's very simple for me to be without food. So I read all kinds of things, from Homer to Kalidasa, to popular mechanics, to National Geographic, this, that, all kinds of things. Nothing in particular, simply literature, philosophy, geography. Geography always fascinated me, so a lot about the world and the planet. 1 year went by like this. When the next academic year started coming, drama started at home. You know, initially your father tries to put his pressure, it doesn't work, and then the final armor is, mother, tears will come. Then you don't know what to do, you have no… You have no weapons against that one. So I said, okay, I will join the college, but only if it's English literature. I said, what will you do reading poetry? What will you do? My father, being a physician, said, you must… I've got the seat ready for you, get into the medical college, you'll do well. I said, no, doctor, no. Then he says, okay, do engineering. Then I said, this is not right. When I said no to doctor, if you had told me become a veterinary doctor, Ayurvedic doctor, this doctor, which doctor, something, I would look at it. I say no to doctor, you say engineering. This doesn't go well with me. So I said, no, literature or I'm going back to the library. So they said, okay. So I went there, joined Mysore University. Teachers come with huge notes, generally handwritten notes, and they're reading it and ask everybody to write down. Entire class is writing. On those days it's fountain pens. They make noise, kar, 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 kar. 30, 40 people writing kar, 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 it just irritates me. I said, this is not it. See, that notes, whoever gave you that notes, you give it to us, we'll photocopy it and give it back to you. We don't have to come, you don't have to come. But I have a billion questions. Is somebody going to answer damn questions that I have? I have a cloud of questions walking with me wherever I go. Whoever I find, if I think this guy can answer, I'll throw 10 questions at him. So I want to ask somebody questions that I have, but no, they thought these questions are too much trouble. Then I made a deal with them, that they will give me my attendance and I will stay out and not ask questions. So I generally parked myself in the university garden, we had a huge garden. I planted myself under a tree. Then to my amazement I found people started coming to me. Education problems, money problems, boyfriend-girlfriend problems, all kinds of problems. Then I discovered everybody had a problem. I was the only freako who didn't have a problem. I was trying to think up a problem for myself, what is my problem? It's not that everything is going fantastic, but I never saw them as problems, but everybody labels ordinary situations as problems. Simply situations. Some situations we know how to handle, some situations we don't know how to handle, so what the hell about it? But every situation they cannot handle, they give it a problem title, and that problem festers and multiplies in their mind. So people coming to me with all kinds of problems. I heard variety of problems for these 3 years I spent in the garden. And I made a check, once a month I went and checked if they are keeping their end of the deal with the attendance. So why I'm saying this to you is, we are making a problem out of everything. See, never before materially, physically, life has been as good as it's today. Hello? But this generation has become the most whining generation ever on the planet. Small things, big things, everything whining, simply because they're taking such strong positions on everything. There is… youth means you must be open. You've not taken any position in your life yet.
Yes.
The best thing about youth, being youthful is, you're not too conceited, you've not taken a position, you don't belong to this or that, you're open. That is the best part of being youthful. But today I see people have taken strong positions about everything in the world. Once you take such positions, you will naturally create huge problems in your mind. What for are you taking such positions? This is a time to explore, this is a time to learn, this is a time to come to a broader level of understanding and perception. This is not a time to take positions, I'm this or that. They've even, by the time they're 18, they belong to some political party. It should not be so. Till you get out and find your way in the world, till then you must just soak up as much life as possible. Just see tomorrow what really works and you support that, what works for you and for everybody around you. Taking strong positions, the moment you take strong positions, the openness of your mind is lost. Once your mind is not open, suffering is inevitable. How else it'll be? You got that.
Thank you very much. So the next topic that this question sort of revolves around is love and relationships, which I know a lot of young people, a lot of students, not even just young people, adults even. It's everyone, at some point in their life, hopefully. So love is such like a universal topic. It's in movies, songs. It seems like such a basic component of life, yet it's really hard for us to define it. It's really hard for us to truly know when we're in love, to truly know if it's the right kind of love, if it actually is love, if it's just infatuation. If you feel really strongly, it must be love because you can't get them out of your head. So this can be, and maybe that's just me as a young person. But yeah, so love can be a very big topic. So the question that we have that we've sourced from the U of T community is, what does it mean to love someone both unconditionally and healthily?
Unconditionally? Hello? Does anybody know what's unconditionally? Oh. There are always conditions. Are they reasonable conditions or unreasonable conditions? That's the only way you can distinguish. But what is very reasonable for me may be unreasonable for you. What is very reasonable for you may be unreasonable for me. So friction happens. The problem is this, that we are calling human transactions as love. Human transactions are human transactions. People come together for various needs. If you have to learn together, you form one kind of group. Maybe two people will sit in the library and study. They were only discussing the subject, I mean to say. You also went to the library, but So, people may come together because they have physical needs. People may come together because they have psychological needs. People may come together because they have emotional needs, financial or social needs, all right? Or maybe a combination of all those things put together. So, these transactions, everybody has to do. Various levels of life, different types of transactions. So what we are calling as love is a certain sweetness of emotion within you. Right now, your condition may be such, you're not able to trigger the sweetness of your emotion without the help of somebody. I'm not willing to point at anybody because this will be misunderstood. Without the help of another person, you are not able to trigger the sweetness of your emotions. Now, you think, only with this person, my emotions can be sweet. I'm asking you, whether it's love or hate, anger or tranquility, whatever or whatever, pleasure or pain, even light or darkness, does it happen within you or outside of you? Within you. What happens within you, if it needs an outside push, that means you're a low-tech machine. You know, in 1950s, if you owned a car, morning if you have to start it means you need two people to help you, otherwise it won't start. But today all the cars, even in extreme cold, self-start, isn't it? Isn't it time you upgrade your technology? That if you sit here, you can sit here lovingly. Not because of her or him or her. Just like that, you can sit here lovingly. If there's somebody you can share, nobody, you can sit here lovingly. What's stopping you? So, if you made yourself as a human being with a joyful mind and a loving heart, then you will conduct transactions, various transactions, in a sensible, graceful manner. Those are called relationships. Love is one aspect which is within you. Relationship is a transaction. The other person is involved. This is always a compromise, there's no perfect relationship anywhere. Yes or no? There is a give and take. If you are running the relationship 51% your way, you're doing great. Sometimes the percentage tilts in their favor, you try to push it in your favor. Transaction, but any transaction will sustain only if it's beneficial for both the parties. Whether it's marketplace, friendship, marriage, whatever, it will only sustain if it's beneficial for both the parties, isn't it? So you have to ensure, even if the other person is not competent to benefit or doesn't have the push to benefit, you must make sure the other person benefits, otherwise it'll not sustain. Even if you're doing business, I'm telling you. If you want continued customership from somebody, you must make sure he benefits, even if he doesn't ask for it. Hello? Yes or no? Yes. Then relationship will sustain. So do not misunderstand these two things. I know it's… because you're going by pop culture of songs, music, Broadway and Hollywood, leave that alone. You look at it from your perspective. Human emotion and human thought happens within you. If this happens the way you want it, will you keep this very pleasant or unpleasant? Pleasant. If you keep it pleasant, you are naturally loving, your emotions are sweet. If your emotions are sweet, will people want to be with you? Of course they want to be with you. Yes or no?
Yes.
You don't have to do any circus to have them. If you are a very wonderful human being, they desperately want to be with you, isn't it? You don't have to do any tricks to have them with you. So, relationship becomes easy, whichever way you play, it works. You don't have to be unnecessarily conscious what to do, what not to do, how not to hurt that person, nothing. When you're a wonderful human being, when your thought is joyful, your emotion is sweet and loving, you can conduct your relationships whichever way you want and it'll work, because they want it, all right? So you must make yourself wanted, that's what I'm telling you.
So the next question we have is about identity. It's a personal question that I've come up with, but I think some of you might be able to relate. So I'm a diaspora, I'm Canadian born. My family is from Tanzania, but originally from Gujarat. So I've always struggled to identify who I am in the Canadian context. So when I went to school and I had to eat lunch, I would take my butter chicken and I would go sit on the side because I didn't want my white friends to have to smell my food. But when I was with my family at mosque or temple, I would all of a sudden have an Indian accent. So I was always stuck between these two identities constantly. And these are things I did as a child, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now as an adult, I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate in this space. So my question for you is, as youth, we have the ability to adapt our identities to fit the social surroundings we're in. How do we begin to understand our authentic truths and act upon them in a world that expects us to change and be amiable in our environments?
See, in 21st century, the comfort of belonging to a specific community, because especially you come from India. In India, people lived in adjacent homes for thousands of years actually, for millennia they've been there in the same places. But this is one kind of community, this is another, they cook differently. They're all together, everything, but they still cook differently. They always get married among themselves. They've maintained this for thousands of years. I always look back and see, how the hell did they manage? The cooking didn't get mixed up, you know. How did they manage this? It's quite incredible they managed that. But that time is over in many ways. We must preserve those individual cultures because they're valuable, because they evolved over thousands of years. Each one of them have their uniqueness and beauty about them. But it lost its value when you did not understand what is a difference and what is a discriminatory process. See, it's wonderful that each one of us are different. If there was one more person just like you in your home, could you live there, I'm asking? Hello? Aren't we glad everybody is different and nobody is like us? So whether it's as an individual person or as a community or as a nation, we are all different and that's fantastic. But when we misunderstand differences as discriminatory process, then it becomes ugly. When that ugliness comes, we want to demolish all differences and make everybody into McDonald's. Okay? Because we think the evil is differences. Evil is not differences. The evil is in you thinking one is superior to the other. Instead of seeing this world is fantastic only because we are so different. You're all of us same. I won't have a conversation with you if you were just like me. Hello? If you were just the same as me, why would I sit here and have a conversation with you? Only because you're different, you're worth talking to, isn't it? So differences are fine, we don't have to suffer them. It's really wonderful that this small little planet has thrown up so many varieties of people. How many varieties of people? Leave the individuals, even as communities, as nations, how many varieties of people? The way we eat, the way we talk, the way we do things, the way we dress, everything is different and that's fantastic. We just have to educate the world that differences are wonderful, discrimination is horrible. This distinction if we get, you can be whoever the hell you want, all right? See, from generation to generation, how your parents were, they are also diaspora in Africa. They largely spoke Gujarati, they're desperately trying to keep their culture, you know. Actually, people who come out of India in 50s, 60s, they're more Indian than the Indian people. Because India has changed dramatically since then, but people who came out as one community and living in Africa, in UK, some other place, they are totally still dressing, talking, eating like 1950s because they are living within that community. All this is not a problem. This is all wonderful, how human beings evolve, adapt, do things. As long as we do not discriminate against each other, we don't think I'm superior to you, I'm better than you are less than me, this is the whole problem. So you just have to learn one thing. Doesn't matter who comes in front of you, whoever, never look up to anybody, never look down on anybody, this is all. You just bring this one thing into you, every difference is fine. No looking up, no looking down.
Thank you.
Sadhguru, the next question is something that we've sourced from the audience, and it's been a personal question as well, which is that when we're on this journey of life, we tend to set a lot of short-term goals, and when we don't achieve them, we don't know how to deal with failure. And that is something we all deal with a lot at U of T in specific, but but in that moment when we can look back and say, yeah, this is fine, but in that moment, how do we hold our ground and how do we learn to see the bigger picture?
Should I tell you about my failures? Hello? No, they're not interested. I have some fans who want to know about my failure. When I was 10, 11, the only thing that I had in my mind is, I just want to go somewhere, I don't know where. So those days if I got 5 rupees, 5 rupees was lots of money. I bought a little bit of bread and disappeared into the jungle. Just walked around, caught a bunch of snakes, I observed everything from insects to worms to animals to everything. When I ran out of food and became difficult, after 3, 4, 5 days, came back. By then there was a lot of unnecessary excitement in the town. Police complaints, searching all over the place, looking into the morgue, all kinds of things. And then I came back and they were all this thing, but I had left a note. They just ignore my words and do everything else. So after a few times, they got used to that. And I also grew up. So I didn't know where, but I just wanted to go somewhere. All I knew was somehow the known situations was kind of containing me. I just wanted to go somewhere. The moment I got a bicycle, I cycled across South India. And I got a motorcycle, I crisscrossed India many times. And I was stopped at the national borders. So I decided the only thing is I do some business, make some money and ride across the world. Where, I don't know, simply want to ride. So I thought I'll get into business. So I got in, became far more successful than most people would imagine in a short span of time. So one to another, I started half a dozen businesses, became very successful, everything. Then everybody was clapping their hands except me. They were all clapping their hands because I was making more money than other people. I was getting little like that because I got into this business because I wanted to ride away. But business after business, I put one finger, now both my hands were stuck in it, making money and everybody clapping hands, but I was not clapping hands. I did not think it's a great thing. I think it's those 5 years which people think are very successful for me were the 5 years when I did not do what I really wanted to do. But everybody else thought I was doing great. That's how world is, you must understand. When you're doing great, they think you're doing no good. When you think you're doing no good, they all think you're doing great. So you must know whose interest is in their hearts. So then one afternoon, it so happened I burst into an ecstatic state for no reason, every cell in my body bursting. And then I look at myself, what is happening to me? Am I going off my rocker? Am I losing it? What's happening? But I know I don't want to lose what's happening because it's too fantastic. If I simply sit here, I'm dripping ecstasy. Then I pay attention to it, what is it that's happening to me? Then I realize, if I don't mess with my mind, I'm just ecstatic. Even now, just see, it's just the cerebral activity that you're not able to deal with, isn't it, which causes so much all this. If you know how to distance yourself from that, this life will burst into ecstatic state. When you are a 5-year-old girl, simply jumping around, simply because there was not much cerebral activity. Simply life was a joy just to be alive, isn't it? Even now you will become like that if you know when to keep your cerebral activity on, when to keep it off. When I realized, if you don't do anything, you will become ecstatic, then I thought, what's the big deal? I will make the whole world ecstatic. On that day, the world's population was 5.6 billion people. Then I sat down and made an elaborate plan. How I will make the world ecstatic? Because it's so simple. If they don't do anything, they will be ecstatic. I didn't think people are so invested in misery that it'll take a lot of coaxing. Then I made a plan, in 2.5 years' time, I can very easily make the world ecstatic. I thought I'll execute this plan. Because you're a consulting business person, I'm telling you. I had everything clear-cut, because this is this simple. If I talk to them, why will they deny ecstasy? They will all go for it. 38 years. Don't do this. You're clapping at my failures. So people today say we have touched somewhere between 800 to 900 million people. But that's not my idea of the world. Population has grown to 7.6 billion people. Now I know I will die a failure, but I'm a blissful failure, okay? Because first is, I learned how to fix myself before I do anything in the world. If you fix yourself, will you fix yourself in a pleasant way or unpleasant way? Pleasant way. So if you become joyful by your own nature, then you do something in the world. Depending upon the times in which we exist, we must understand this, never underestimate this. Depending upon the times in which we exist, we do certain things, our world allows us to do certain things, isn't it? Today you're in your university, all of you here, because this is 21st century. If this was 12th century, maybe you would be fighting a war, maybe you would be plowing the land, maybe you would be doing something else. So you being a university is not your achievement, it is the times. You have some role, you have a stake in it, but it is the times which is allowing you to